Good morning, welcome along. Today is Monday the 7th of September 2020. This is our 8 a.m. movement snack. Now, if you're on catch-up and this isn't the one that you want, then go and have a look, find the one you do want. They're all on our Facebook group, whether it be yesterday, the day before, a week or so ago, whichever one it is. Go find that one, and then we'll see you on catch-up when you come back. Just do us a little favour. Pop a little comment in, say hi, just to let us know you've been here, because it's always nice to know that people have been here with us as well. One of the things you can do with catch-up, of course, is you can stop it. You can pause it. You can have a look at it and then start it again. But the big thing with catch-up is you can do it whenever you want, can't you? I know that, depending on how your day pans out, it may be that you don't do the 8 a.m. movement snack until 2 o'clock in the afternoon. That's the great thing with catch-up, that you can do it. So here we are, make movement your mission. Wow. I think we're in our 25th week, if my memory serves me right. We've been here quite a while. Started off as a 30-day thing we were going to do, just for 30 days, 3 times a day for 30 days. We surpassed 500 of those snacks on Saturday. So we're working our way towards the 1,000 mark now. The first 500 is out the way, and in the words of the song, I'll walk 500 miles and 500 more. So we've done the 5. We've got to do the other 500 now. When you come on board, say hi to me. Let me know you're here. It's always good to know that people are around, and I'm not just talking to myself. One of the things I forgot to do is move my clock. So my clock is on the mantelpiece still. So if I take the occasional glance, it's just so I know how we're doing for time, because I can't quite make it out from here. So drop me a little comment. Let me know as you come on board. I can see we've got Christine there. Mrs. P's in. It's always good to know when people are on board. Good morning. George, Super G and Mrs. P are in the house. So welcome along. Start of a new week, Monday. Busy week. Busy-ish. Things are starting to pick up, which is things are starting to get moving again, aren't they? Hi Francis, in from Bristol. Beautiful sunshine here at the moment. We've got some blue skies with little bits of cloud in them. No real sunshine yet. And a good old amount of dew on the cars this morning. So, that not misty feeling, but when the cars are covered in dew first thing in the morning. So, it's going to be a good day, I think. It's going to brighten up. It's going to be nice and warm. Got a few things to do for the granddaughter. Starts her new school on Monday next week, into her infant school. Big, exciting times for her. So I'm going to be ironing some name labels into her uniform later on after I've finished at work this morning. That's my day. That's how my day's looking. Work this morning, and then ironing labels into uniforms later on this afternoon. Hey, the high life, what can I say? Good morning, Wendy. Nice and bright in Shrewsbury. Lovely to hear. I do especially like to hear what's happening in Shrewsbury. There's lots of O's in Shrewsbury when it comes through. It's lovely. Makes you feel warm. There we go. Maddie, good morning to you. Hello and welcome along, and morning to everybody. There is our Kelsey coming in. Good morning, Kelsey. A little wave to our Kels. So here we are. The start of, I think it's week 25. I've lost track. But we've surpassed the 500, as I said a few moments ago. This is our first movement snack, our first snack of the day, our first opportunity to add additional movement minutes into our day. First of 3 opportunities that we'll be with you for, and then there's all the crowbarring that you can do on top of that as well. Good morning, Gillian. Dry day where you are in Port Talbot. Washing's out, first cuppa done, ready for the day. You're one ahead of me there then. No cuppa for me yet this morning, and the cat's come to demand that I open the door for her. So bear with me 1 second. Kelsey, a bit dull where you are this morning, but you're bright, as always. We can always rely on our Kelsey to be bright, can't we? I will be back in 2 seconds. I'm just going to go and let the cat out, because once she starts meowing, she will not stop until she gets what she wants. So bear with me. What's up, Bella? Back door. Yeah. So demanding, cats sometimes, aren't we? We've got one who jumps out of windows and God knows what. And then we've got our other cat who demands things. So she's coming through the front door. She wanted to go out through the back door into the back garden. She's not going to jump over fences. She wants to walk through the house to get from the front to the back. So there she is demanding it. There is a catastrophe in Leicester. Let me just share this with you. In the Leicestershire countryside this morning, there is a disaster happening. Kelsey has run out of coffee. What are we going to do? Somebody get Kelsey some coffee. Anybody's around in Leicestershire. Coffee is needed. Just think your inner coffee. Channel your inner coffee for me, Kelsey. Things will be okay. We're coming round to 8 o'clock. Good morning, Myra. Maya, sorry, good to have you with us. And good morning, Carol. Good to have you with us. Although it's heavy rain where you are. Let me just check the time. Right, we are 8 o'clock. So 3, 2, 1, folks. Good morning. My name is Dave Montgomery from Later Life Training. Welcome along on this Monday, the 7th of September, 2020. The start of another week for us here on Make Movement Your Mission. This is our first opportunity to add some additional movement minutes into our day. And I'm just chuckling because I'm seeing the comments coming up about, coffee run out. Right, if you want to lose the comments off the bottom of the screen, then please do feel free to move them to the right and they will be gone. So this is our first movement snack, as I say, a mobilisation and a bit of a circulation booster to start our day off, ready to start adding more and more additional movements into our day. We can do this in a standing position, in a standing supported position with external fixed support available to us if we need it, or into a seated position. And our seated position is going to be active. Before we do anything though, let's get our posture set. So, knees in line with our heels and in line with our hips. The knees are slightly bent, so we're softening them, but we're not bending them. Yeah, so there's your bent knees, there's your soft knees, there's your locked knees. And there's your knocked knees. There we go, there's our knees set. Grow an extra couple of inches between your ribs and your hips. So imagine a balloon between your ribs and your hips and give it a couple of extra breaths so it lifts it a little bit taller. Shoulders coming up, back and pressing them down, lengthening through our neck. In our seated position, the first thing we're going to do is come from the back of the chair to the front with a little hip walk into the front third of the chair. From there, again, we're sitting tall. So our heels are in line with our knees are in line with our hips. We're growing those extra couple of inches, lifting the shoulders up, back and pressing down. So we've got good tall posture. From there, let's start with a little heel raise. Lifting the heels off the floor and we're peeling the heel and the ball of the foot slightly off the floor so we come onto the toes and the front part of our ball of the foot. So feel a crease between your toes and the ball of your foot. From there, let's take it into a little march. Now, this is lifting the foot slightly off the floor, only a small amount. So the toes are the last thing to come off and then the first thing to come down. So we peel them off one by one, heels, ball and toes, and then we place the toes down, toes onto the ball of the foot and through to the heels. In our standing position, you can see that a little bit clearer. So you can see how the foot is just leaving the floor by a small amount. It's not a huge move. This is our circulation booster, so it's started to get the body warmed up. It's taken us from the off position to the on position, if you like. So our resting state to a state where we're ready to do some movement, some activity. Now, if you're ready for it, let's put an arm movement in, and the arm generates from our shoulders. So have a look here. Can you see how that movement goes from our shoulders? We're driving the elbow backwards, focusing on the backward part of that movement, so we're really mobilising through our shoulders. Now, if you feel steady and stable in standing, let's bring both arms in. If not, then take a pause every now and again. As many steps as you need to turn into your support, to change sides, and then the other arm comes in. With your seated position, a lot of hard work into your hip flexors there with that march. So you may want to come back into this heel raise or even a toe tap in front as an option for you. With our arms going at the same time, and an option for you as far as your arms is concerned is to bring the hands together at the front and a canoeing type motion, driving those elbows backwards, but still focusing on keeping the elbows tucked in, driving the arm backwards to really mobilise through those shoulders. So Circulation booster, we're warming the muscles, we're loosening the joints, we're getting the blood pumping around the body, we're opening the arteries so the blood can flow a little bit easier. Starting to breathe a little bit heavier, but not too heavy. So what we're doing is feeling that we're having to breathe a little bit more. A minute or a couple of minutes, and we should feel as though we want to take a deep breath or a couple of deep breaths to finish that off. There we go. Let's move on from there into our top trio to start off with. So we're going to start with our shoulders. The shoulders lift towards the ears and lower down. We've got a good base of support here. So hands by the side and our feet probably just outside our hips, so shoulder width. Control that movement. So can you see how we lift the shoulders towards the ears and lower down? The neck stays long. And if you have a little bit of asymmetry, so one shoulder with a little less mobility than the other, you may want to just focus on that side for a couple of extra movements. 3, 4 or 5 of those, and it's exactly the same in our seated position. Taking it to standing, again, exactly the same, but that base of support. From there, let's bring it into a roll. So we bring the shoulders forward, have a look, come forward, up, brushing past the ears as we bring them back with the shoulder base together and pressing down. Now, as you do this move, feel every part of that shoulder joint mobilizing. So we're bringing the shoulders up, back and pressing them down, so we're really mobilizing through our shoulder joints. And again, exactly the same in seated. Once more, again, if you feel that there's a little less mobility on one side, you may want to focus on that side for a couple of extra. Once you've done your 3, 4 or 5 there, take a pause. We're going to move into a head movement. Now, moving our head can challenge our balance. So in standing, have some support available. Take a bit of a wider stance. So we've got a bigger base to work with to start off with. In seated, sit tall. We're going to take the head to the side, into the centre with a pause, and then across to the other side. It's a controlled movement, so we're not throwing the head from side to side. We're controlling it, and our gaze is staying level. So the chin stays level, and we just turn our head from side to side. Again, using our support if we need it. It can challenge us balance-wise with that movement of the head. And sometimes just a finger touch rather than a hold is enough for us to know where we are in relation to our surroundings and the body feels okay. Once you've done your 3, 4 or 5 of those, take a pause and let's move on to our lockdown chin. Kelsey referred to it as a biscuit tin chin the other day. I think I said mine would be a custard cream chin. So here we go. Fingers on the chin. See this bit here at the back? We're trying to straighten that out. So we're going to push or gently bring the head back so it sits on the top part of our neck. Okay? So fingers on. Create a double chin by keeping the gaze where it is and bring the head back and forward. Back and forward. Now you can either keep your fingers there on your chin or you can leave them where they are and bring it back. But can you see how the eye line stays level? So we're not taking the head back this way. We're tucking that chin in and creating that straight line down through the back. 3, 4 or 5 of those, and once you've done those, bring it back in and let's take a march again. A little bit of a circulation booster just to get us moving in. 1 arm, 2 arms, canoeing arms, marching. If you're seated, heel taps or tapping toes in front, whichever, just to give the body a little bit of a boost before we move into our trunk trio. So take a pause into our trunk. Now have a look at your options firstly. Hips stay locked here, all right? So try not to move the hips. The move is to the side, and you can do whatever you want with your arms, whichever you feel comfortable with, but try and focus on these hips. Now, if you feel your hips are moving and you're in a standing position, you can lean against something so that as you rotate to the side, as you do your trunk twist, you can feel by the way that your body interacts with that surface. So if you feel it's starting to lift on one side, you know your hips are moving. If you're in supporting, standing and you're using your support, then turn into your support, okay? In seated position, we're in that active seated position, so we're sitting up on our buttocks. And again, if we feel one of the buttocks lifting, then we know that there's some movement as far as those hips are concerned, and we don't want to have that. We want to keep this locked in, central. So 3, 4 or 5 of those on each side, controlled movement. And remember, the range that you have is the correct range. Shoulders are staying in line as well, so we're not twisting like this, look. Everything stays in line and we go round. I sometimes say to people, is a good way to try and make sure your shoulders don't move, because that's something that can happen sometimes. If you place them onto your belly button and keep them on your belly button, and your elbows tucked in at the side, again, you'll have an indication as to whether your shoulders are moving, because if you start to move your shoulders, your hands start to come across from your belly button. Little tip for you. 3, 4 or 5 of those on each side, and once you're done with those, take a pause. Again, we've still got our wide stance. Our feet are down on the floor, but they're about shoulders width apart. The movement this time is down to the side. So we're sliding the hand down our seat with the trousers, down the seat of our legs towards our knee, and back up on the other side. Controlled movement. Now, if you're utilising your support, come in towards your support. Do 3, 4 or 5 on one side and change to the other side. In seated, you've got the legs of the chair as a guide, coming down and up. And the important thing with this is that it's straight down, straight up. So using an analogy we haven't used for a couple of weeks, but imagine you're a piece of toast in a toaster, and that's the only movement you've got, is down and up. You can't come forward or back. So this is your motion, down and back up. And again, wherever your range is the right range. So if you're only to here, that is fine. The more we do it, hopefully the more we're going to see an increase in that range of motion. 3, 4 or 5 on each side. And once you've done those 3, 4 or 5, take a pause for me. Okay, moving into our last one, and it's our back extension. So this time we want to focus on the pelvis. So we're still into this area here, but what we want to do is tip it forward or tip it back. So Bex talks, and it's a really good analogy actually, a bucket of water. So imagine your hips are a bucket of water and it's filled with water. So we want to keep it level. If we tip our hips back, we're going to spill water at the front. If we tip them forward, we're going to lose it out the back. We don't want to do any of those, okay? So hips and pelvis stays where it is. We're standing tall or sitting tall, and we're bringing the upper back and forward. Let me come into a kneeling position so you can see I'm trying to look at the camera at the same time. So let me come sideways on for you. There you go. So back and forward. Bringing the back forward and back. In our seated position, you can feel if your pelvis is moving from the way that your bottom is sitting on the chair. So if you feel the weight distribution changing, you know that it's moving. And again, similar to your custard cream chin here, we're keeping the gaze level. So we're coming back and forward. We're not letting the headline go up or down. 3, 4 or 5 of those is what you're aiming for. And once you've done those 3, 4 or 5, take a pause and let's just take a little circulation booster again before we head into our final trio, our ankle, our feet and our toes. Yeah? So, looking at our ankle, feet and toes, really crucial to us as far as our stability is concerned. The ankles play a crucial part in it. Here we look at and we focus on mobility. During the lunchtime snacks, we tend to focus on strength. And then when you get to this afternoon with your sway and stretch, then we're looking at flexibility, and all of that helps as far as our stability is concerned. So what we're going to do is lift and put the toe onto the floor. Now have a glance the first couple of times. You're going to lift and put the heel in the same place. Once you've got it, take your eye line to the front, and it's that heel, toe, heel, toe. Really working on the movement through that ankle joint. In seated, then what you might want to do is come back. It's quite a difficult move here to get that ankle, to get that range of motion in there in a seated position. Doesn't mean you can't, but you may find it more comfortable to come into the back of the chair, extend the leg out slightly, and then you can really focus on pointing those toes away and then flexing that foot in towards you. So point the toes away, bring them in towards the shin. There we go. 3, 4 or 5 on each side, and then when you've done that, change to the other leg. Now in the seated position, just be careful not to bring the foot up too high. If we bring it here, we start to feel the back of the leg and the calf working. It's the ankle we're focusing on. So pushing away and bringing it back in. Pushing it away and bringing it back in. And then just to finish off, if you're in a standing position, let's take it to its natural formation here by stepping forward. Ankle comes down, heel comes down, come through onto the ball of the foot on the back as we place the foot down at the front. There is your walking, and there's where your mobility comes in as far as your ankle, feet and toes is concerned. So that motion, really slowing it down and focusing on it there, is working, and you can see it's isolating into that ankle, feet and toes movement. There we are, that is our morning snack. Our first snack of the day is out of the way. 2 more snacks to come, so you've got 3 snacks in total. Keep crowbarring in some additional activities. That circulation booster, if you've been sat down for a while, when you get up, it's always a good thing to do. Have a little bit of a circulation boost before you go and do anything else. Try and crowbar in some of those mobility movements throughout your morning. I'll be back with you tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. and I will see you then. Have a wonderful day, everybody. Take care. I'm Kelsey. I hope you get your coffee. Bye.